Week 4, and what a week 4 it was. There was a lot of things that happened today on Sunday, and some things that we could otherwise leave on the sideline, but there's a lot of little storylines one way or the other. Welcome to Sunday Scaries with Bucks McGee. Wrapping up week 4. How are you doing, sir? How was your football Sunday?
It was a great Sunday, very exciting, week 4, some interesting games, a little personal action there, but overall, it was a good time. How did you enjoy it?
Um, well, I wasn't too thrilled with my TV selection. Um, but I
Yeah, the
got
games
through it.
were good. Games were good
Yeah.
on TV. I'm very upset, honestly, the way so far this season's gone with the way Sunday games have gone. It seems like the last 2 weeks have been very, very stale.
Yeah, and that's why I'm almost like kind of glad that there are a lot of itty bitty storylines we could touch on because
Mhm.
we didn't have the uh, benefit of having a lot of stuff to really dig our teeth into. But
True, true.
the first topic, of course, that we should touch on is the aftermath of this AFC clash between Miami and Buffalo. And it got off to the start we expected to. They exchanged touchdowns back and forth. It was tied 14. We're thinking, oh, this is gonna be a blowout. This is gonna be a super score, and
Hmm.
and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yes, yes, beer for breakfast, facts for snacks. We will get to your Niners. Don't you worry.
Oh man, jeez, the Niners. Yeah, this Bills Dolphins game, like you said, back and forth. I'm thinking the game's going to hit 50s. I'm thinking both teams are going to hit 50s. It was unreal. Then all of a sudden, it seems like Miami just said, you know what, we don't want to score anymore. This is fun. We scored 70 the week before. 20
Let's take
spot is good. Take a
let's take a
break.
week off.
Let's let someone else have some fun. And yeah, um, Buffalo came to play. I can't knock them. They came with a chip on their shoulder, and I think Miami kind of just sauntered in like, hey, we put up 70 not last week. We'll probably put up 45. It just didn't feel they didn't feel like they had urgency
What?
overall, and I don't know, very weird, very weird. I just got a bad vibe from them. It just didn't feel like they were in it, like Buffalo was. Buffalo from right from the start,
Do
you could just feel the energy in the stadium.
do you think it was as simple as just not coming out with urgency, or are there actually issues with the Dolphins that were kind of unmasked, and they need to work on these?
I just think they didn't come to play. I just felt like they were just off. I don't think it's anything horrible or something off with the offense because let's be realistic, even though it was Denver, you put up 70 points in any game, you've got to be clicking. So I just think they came in kind of flat and, Buffalo took advantage. Buffalo, I think, also kind of read the press and, no one really believed that they were ready to go. They beat Washington, and everyone was like, oh, okay, it's Washington. No one still believes in Washington yet. So I think they came in and wanted to make a statement. They were home. They needed this game, I think, a little more than Miami did.
Yeah,
And they proved it. They proved that they are a team to reckon with, especially in this division. So at the end of the day, Miami was just flat. Maybe they needed to get smacked down to earth a little bit just so
hmm
they know that it is a long season and one 70-point game doesn't give you a Super Bowl berth.
yeah. Wear humility with pride.
Exactly. Because one week you're the 70 team, the next week you're the 20 team.
Yeah. So, do you think that Buffalo shook off any doubts that you had so far on them?
I need back-to-back games. Like they
Okay,
don't have to put up 50
50
point
again.
games. They have to put up like close to 50 each game, but they need to play this way against quality opponents on a consistent basis. So I think, if they do this next week, then hey, you know what? Buffalo's back. Everything's hunky dory between, Allen and Stefan. Everyone's hugging it out. Life is good. Everything is right. But if they stumble again, then there's something that's just not clicking. You just can't turn it on and off,
Right.
especially in the AFC.
Speaking of things that aren't clicking in the AFC, the Titans had that. We took the Chargers to the woodshed when they lost that close game, that comeback against the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was not even remotely an option in the Sunday's Titans match against the Bengals, because the Bengals didn't get the bus. They didn't show up. They got blown out the door. That little fool's gold we got on Monday night with them coming out all hot to trot against the Rams. Obviously, the Bengals still are not totally right. So what is wrong with this team?
I have no idea. This, like you said, they didn't get off the bus. I don't even know what that team was. In watching the highlights, I don't know if they just grabbed a high school team and said, "Here, dress up as the Bengals and let's see what happens." This was rough. Now, if Joe is really hurt, if this calf thing is really worse than what it is, just sit him. Like
Right.
just sit him. There's no reason for him to be out there. He's not gonna be, Willis Reed coming off the bench and winning you games, because this is just gonna progressively get worse if he's playing on it. If he's not right, sit him. You paid the man all this money. You're expecting him to wear your jersey for the next 10 to 15 years. Sit him. Because right now, there is no offense. They look horrible.
Yeah.
They just can't get out. I don't know what it is. They just look really bad. And if this continues another 2, 3 weeks, you don't even have to worry about playing them anymore. You'll be out of the playoff
Be out
hunt.
of
Let's
that.
be realistic.
Yeah. And especially like if he's not going to get you by just on guile. Like if you're going to lose anyway, like you said, just let him sit and get right.
Yeah. There's no reason to push this. What are you going to limp with him into the playoffs, and then all of a sudden it's so bad that he can't even play the wild card? Because that's what you're looking like. You might get a wild card. So you limp into the wild card, get waxed by whoever, and then your season was a failure. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Because the expectations now for Cincinnati are not what they used to be.
Yeah.
So if the calf is bad, sit him. I know fans don't want to hear that, and you have all these expectations, but you've got to be real about it too. If he's not right, you're going to hurt him farther down the road.
Yeah. Cincinnati is no longer the we're just happy to be here team. You have to plan to win at least 2 playoff games every year, have a chance at the Super Bowl, if not in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And the Titans weren't epic today. They they beat a hapless Bengals team that just didn't have it. Now, if this was the Bengals last year, everybody's 100% and it's Joe ready to go, then hey, I'll give you all the credit in the world. But hey, a win's a win. You got to give the Titans
Yeah.
whatever because nobody knows what they're going to be. No one knows what next year is going to bring for this team. This is Tannehill's last hurrah. Henry was decent. He finally got going a bit, but it's the Titans.
Yeah, I'm not going to take the double away from them, but at the same time, this team is still not good. There's nothing about this team that scares me. They're just like you said, they're just taking advantage of a Bengals team that ain't right.
Right, exactly.
Next topic. Well, sir, do you want to take a few moments to pump your chest out a little bit?
Oh, are we talking about the NFC South leading Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Oh, yes. How they went down to New Orleans.
That same division leading Buccaneers that is now halfway to the mystical 6 wins.
Oh yeah, 6 wins at best. Oh yeah, they're gonna be in play for the #1 pick. Blah blah blah. Baker Bay is real. If you had doubts after 4 games, shame on you. Baker 3 touchdowns. The man is incredible. I don't care what you say. The man plays with heart. Everyone was ready to crown the Saints, division champs. Carr is blah blah blah. First, I was surprised he played because earlier in the week everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be Jameis." Even though Jameis did get in, everyone was like, "Jameis is going to play." So with Carr in, I'm like, "All right, let's see what happens." And the Saints they don't look right at all. There's some issues there. I don't know what it is. Carr looks no better than he did when he was with the Raiders. Second half, they were able to run the ball a little bit, but I don't know. That team doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Mike Evans got hurt, a hamstring, but I liked the way the Bucks played the second half with the three receiver set. They were a little smaller, a little quicker. I don't think the Saints could match up well with them. And Baker does what Baker does.
Bigger bakes.
And Baker bakes to a 3-1. So I'm gonna enjoy this. We have a bye week, so gonna enjoy this. Everybody rest up a bit, but it was a hell of a game. I'll take it any day of the week.
Um, so I'll let you enjoy this one for a minute.
Oh, the bowl! Wow. I it's tough. The run game is still suspect. We had a little bit of a run game. We did hit over 100 yards, which is like a milestone. So I'll take that. But I think the run game still needs to improve. They could surprise some people. I'm not willing to put them in the bowl, but they can get good. I think towards the end of the year, this could be a team that no one wants to play. They're tough and gritty, and I think they love that Baker brings that. He's able to move in the pocket and get those hard first downs. I'm loving what I'm seeing. So we'll see what happens. 3-1. I'm just going to enjoy this one right now.
Did you So you had identified the running game as the weak link. Were you impressed or sat? And I shouldn't say impressed. Were you satisfied enough today to kind of calm any fears from Monday night?
No, it was nice, but I think there needs to be more consistency in the run game. There definitely has to. Like this can't be the height of the run game. I can't look back 17 weeks and say, wow, that game week 4 against the Saints, that's where we were at our best. White really needs to, run more north-south. I think sometimes he just stops and looks for the holes. I think he just needs to see a hole and just hit it. And yeah. I think he started to do that today. And I also liked them when they, put him out at receiver. I think that opens up the offense as well. So I think they need to use him in the passing game a little more. So I think overall, it's a good start. Good start, but there's a lot more growth that needs to happen. Mike's got to be healthy. If he's not, then we'll go with this 3 receiver route and see what happens. But Baker gives them some edge, and that defense was incredible. Winfield, I'm telling you right now, when that man's contract comes up, they need to give him the moon and the stars. Mm-hmm. He is one of the best safeties in the league, no doubt. He played incredible today.
Derek Carr's decision to play was a little bit of an 11th hour decision. Do you think he was rushed back? Do you think this was more like, I want to be out there for pride, and he probably should not have been out there?
Yeah, I don't, because you kind of saw as the game progressed, there was a lot of Taysom Hill for like 3 or 4 plays. Then Carr would come in for a couple. I don't know if that was by design or if Carr's, shoulder was bothering him. If he wasn't 100%, you don't put him out there. Like, you just don't do it. It's one game. It's the same thing. It's like almost like the Burrow situation. If he's not right, don't put him out. You can trust Winston to run that offense for a couple games if you have to. He ran it last year. He's got a solid arm. You give him a chance. I just think they were just off. It didn't work right. I think they felt by Kamara just coming back today that everything was going to be good and they were going to be this dynamic offense. They shut down Olave. Olave was very much non-existent this whole game, and he's their deep threat. He was non-existent. So I just felt that they should have probably rested him today. Like, if he's not right, he's not right. But the Saints are prideful, and when the week leading up to this matchup is always interesting because you hear Cam Jordan, talking his little bit. You got the Lattimore Evans storyline. So there's a lot of stuff in this matchup. So I think, a lot of it was probably pride. And I think with Carr, he wants to perform for this team. I don't think it's a bet. I don't think he's doing it for himself. He wants to be there for the team, but he's got to understand that it's 17 games. One game won't hurt you.
I'm gonna table this comment for a few topics because we have a few more topics before we can get to what this one implies, what the legendary Kraft Bazaar implies. But the next game, of course, we just talked your teams. We got to talk my team, and this is one of those games that I hinted at in the preseason where just play hard, stay in it. Let me see some toughness and grit out of this team.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably, I beat my chest a little bit that we were in first place, but in a bigger picture perspective, we're probably not going to win the division. Just play hard. Let me see some good stuff. Let me see stuff to be hopeful for next year, and make me not want to jump ship and rock Panthers blue or something. So
Okay, all right. No, you're absolutely right. You talked about that, and you said you always wanted those games where these guys, especially with AR, we're gonna grind it out. In this game, I was impressed with them. I really was.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was impressed with the Colts today. Very much so.
Especially because we are not the type of team or the type of offense to go shot for shot with a high scoring offense, which the Rams, despite their woeful offensive line, have very much been a high flying offense so far this year. So we are not built to do that. So the fact that we dug ourselves a massive hole, stayed in that hole, and then climbed back to the point where we were going in overtime and we could have very easily taken this game. So that it's like, okay, you know what? If the Colts are going to win any games this year, it's games that are going to be ugly. And despite the fact that you don't necessarily classify a 20-point comeback as ugly, it did wind up being kind of an ugly game. So it's an L, whatever, reset at 2-2. We got Tennessee coming up. We got Jacksonville coming up as they come back from the London trip, which the game which you and I will be at. And I think, all things considered, this is not a bad place to be in.
No, not at all. I think you would have taken 2-2 in a heartbeat. I like the way they came back at the end of the game. I believe it's different because of the quarterback you have now. You've never had a quarterback like this. So I think this adds to that dimension. It just shows that for next year, you've got to get them some serious playmakers. Yeah. And I think, a more athletic tight end, a couple, big physical type receivers, and you guys will make some noise. Hopefully, can sign a running back that's kind of floating around and will be activated on Wednesday.
That actually wants to be here.
hey, maybe this game sways them. You never know. But overall, you guys played well. You played hard, and that's what you look for in a team that you're building and developing. So
yeah, I hope he does change his mind, obviously. But so far he has been steadfast that he's done playing in a Colts uniform. So obviously I'm hoping something changes here, but
of course
I'm going to hold my breath until Wednesday passes and see if he's actually in practice.
If not, you get those picks and you build and move on.
Yeah. Of course, I have to have faith that Orca Man is going to actually do that.
The Orca Man.
So this next game, this is one that we we spent a little bit on time on in the pregame, but overall kind of we're not big on it. We figured Philly would just roll. But Washington gave them a fight, and Sam Howell looked like a very competent NFL starting quarterback. So what do we take out of this game? Is it a situation where Washington is this pretty decent team that can make some teams' lives hell, or do we take out of it, okay, Philly has some definite dents in the armor that need to be addressed?
I think you can go both ways. Philly still hasn't put together a complete game yet. Mm-hmm. And Jalen just doesn't look right in the pocket. It just seems like something is off. There isn't that flow that they had last year. Like that play in overtime when they called the intentional grounding, and he literally just leaned back and whipped it across. I don't think he would have done that last year. It just seems like there's something that isn't there, and I can't figure it out.
Do you think he's missing Shane Steichen? Do you think it's just something as simple as a different coordinator? Now he has to get used to someone else's tendencies?
It could be. He's not used to what they're asking him to do. It's very weird. It just, like when you see him in the pocket, it just feels robotic almost. Mm. And it's just not right. I don't know what it is. And hopefully for them in the next couple of weeks, they'll have that game where, he puts up 315 and they still can run for over 100, because like last week, their offense and defensive lines are there. But if this is what's gonna come to pass the way they played today, they're ripe for an upset and some losses. Washington, fun to watch, man. Sam Howell, man, I like that kid. He's got touch on the ball. I love the play calling. I think Bieniemy is what that franchise needed.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about this, especially in the preseason, how Bieniemy leaving the Chiefs, how that would affect both franchises. And I think you kind of see it in the Chiefs, how their offense is kind of stagnant. And for me, I truly believe Bieniemy was the offensive mind there. I really do. That's just what I think. I know Andy Reid gets all the kudos, and rightfully so, but I think Bieniemy was the mind there, really. And you saw that today in Washington. The way the plays that were drawn up were great. It fits that offense. Howell was able to deliver some balls on a dime, and you kind of feel it with that franchise where it's like they're coming out of the fog for everything that's been there for the last few years with everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be a team that people are going to have to really watch out for.
Yeah, and the one, I mean, I kind of side more towards Andy Reid being like the Sean McVay type, the what's like trying to think of another coach that always calls their own plays, Frank Reich.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like it's kind of almost like a territorial thing, like you're an offensive mastermind, you're always going to want to call the plays. But the
Mm-hmm.
one thing I will say, the feather I will put in your cap, is that Andy Reid historically is more of a West Coast spread it around type of guy, and obviously the Chiefs with Mahomes were very much downfield, home run,
Mm-hmm.
big bomb type of offense. So that would kind of side more towards your theory that the enemy was the play caller.
But Washington, give them credit,
Yeah,
they took it to the limit. So Philly's got to watch out. Philly really has to watch out and kind of tighten some things up because if not, there are some teams in the NFC that I think can take them.
yeah. Next up, another NFC team. The Minnesota Vikings finally won that
Like, like they didn't deserve to win this game. It was Carolina gave it to them.
game. Yeah, it was a weird game right from the start because Minnesota drives down the field. It's looking like they're in control. Carolina picks them off in the goal line and at the goal line and runs it back all the way. Uh, and
And
then
that hit that dude put that Kirk took, I give Kirk credit in the world for running down there and trying to stop him, but you're a quarterback, man. You sometimes you just got to let it be.
Sawyer roll.
Exactly. Live to throw the ball another day.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Um, and Jay Jettis got in the action, but they were still down, and the turning point was Minnesota taking their turn at running back, a defensive miscue as Bryce fumbled it, and they get a touchdown off of that. Jay Jettis shows up again, and Minnesota puts the lead away and holds on to the rest of the game. So, do you think there is any point in salvaging this season for Minnesota, or are we still on the Kirk Cousins trade watch?
If I'm Kurt, man, just tell me where I can go. No. Okay, they won the game. Hooray! You beat Carolina. You should have beat them. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. This is a team that you should beat. This isn't a team that is set for gritty wins. They're not Washington yet.
No.
Okay, they've got a young quarterback, and they're trying to build up their culture and the whole thing. The Vikings should have won this game. Yeah, they did, but it wasn't anything dominating or something to say, okay, I think they got something going now. No, if I'm Kurt, I'm like, okay, just a matter of time before they trade me. They need to trade him because if you let him walk, you have nothing. Let's be realistic. It's time to break it down and rebuild it. And if Jettis doesn't like that, then hey, you get a small fortune for him too. I am one who believes that hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do for your franchise. You really have to do. You have to think long term. And if Kurt isn't going to come back and you don't plan on signing him, and someone's willing to give you a decent piece for him, then you go ahead and do that.
Well,
Because right now they're not winning that division. There's no
no.
way.
It's funny because Jay Jettis did have a very cryptic post the week heading into this game where he said, "I wish my quarterback was Kenny Pickett" or something like that. I don't know if I go that far, but like, why post it at all? Because even though you were winless at the time, Kirk Cousins was still getting you the ball.
Yeah, if you're asking for Kenny Pickett, yeah, look and see what happened today. I don't know if you're asking for Kenny Pickett,
Yeah,
but yeah. See, you need to be careful. And now, if I'm Kurt and that's legit, okay, just get me out. I'll leave now. All right, good luck. Good luck with whatever they bring in here, because you're
yeah,
not gonna get the balls that I was throwing you. So you know what? Send me to New York. Go ahead, because New
yeah.
York should be the place he goes.
You don't like
Send
me?
me.
Have fun. You don't like me? Have fun with Zach Wilson.
Yep. Peace out. Give him Zach a bag of balls and some Gatorade. I'm out. Because get ready. You'll see one pass. One if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Ridiculous.
Um, smash that like button and let's ride. So, this game, I don't know where to start with this game. The Justin Fields actually looked like the Justin Fields the Bears thought they were drafting today. Got off to a super hot start, had the Bears up, and this Bears defense is definitely not the Bears defense that we're used to seeing, because they put up a donut as the second half wore down, as the fourth quarter got underway. And Russ looked like for whatever reason, he looked like vintage Russ. And they had this furious comeback. They stormed all the back. They got the dub. And I guess we can't make fun of the Broncos like we used to.
Oh,
Or
no, you
not
still
like
can.
I shouldn't say not like we used to, but like we have been.
No, no, no. They beat the Bears. Really? Really? They beat the Bears. You're going to tell me that Russ is cooking and Russ is back because he beat the Bears in that putrid defense? The Bears have, if you watch the Bears this season, literally every game, they may have two series where that defense looks good. After that, they're a hot mess. Someone's always hurt, going to the locker room, coming back. There's always something going on. No, they beat the Bears. There is no way Russ is cooking. Nutmeg, you could cook. You could cook against the Bears, my friend. All right. I'll give you 21 for 32, 2 tutties, and 5 yards rushing. I'll give you that. Come on, man.
And that says something, because you're the quarterback on our team. I'm just your CMC.
You know, I will give you that. And hooray for Russ. For a whole week now, he can walk around and be like, yeah, let's ride, blah, blah, blah. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to be saying the same thing. Like, no, I can't take anything from this. It was two horrible teams. Someone had to win. And they pulled it out because the Bears choked it away. If I'm Justin Fields, I'm telling you to trade me. I don't want to be there. Like, let's be real. Like, Justin Fields, like, I sat and I really thought about this. I'm like, you know what? Justin isn't that bad. That team around him is horrible. They're about to get rid of freaking Chase Claypool. He didn't even play today.
Yeah.
They're saying they're either going to suspend him or they're going to ship him out. If that's what's going on this team, it's just a matter of time before Justin's like, you know what? I'll finish off my contract and someone's going to sign him and turn him into a superstar.
Yeah.
So, hooray, Russ! But no, I can't. I can't give them anything. No.
If anything, it was just proof that maybe Peyton really isn't just tanking for Caleb.
I'm serious. Yeah. A quick side note: anyone who watched that USC Colorado game, that Caleb Williams is the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. I think he can end up better. That kid is legit. That's all I gotta say. Legit. Whew. But anyways, yeah. Russ, whatever. Don't care. No.
Real quick on the next game, because it wasn't very competitive and neither one of these teams really, I don't think, has much of postseason aspiration, but it was J.J. Watt Day down in Houston, and the Texans came out to play. And I figured, like, the way the Steelers have been looking, yeah, they don't look great. Yeah, Kenny Pickett leaves a lot to be desired at times, but, you know, the Texans being what they are, they should be able to take care of business. Their defense the Steelers' defense is still looking like at least some semblance of Pittsburgh defenses of old. But Houston is not looking like the roll, much like my Colts. Houston's not looking like the rollover that we thought they would be.
Not at all. DeMeco Ryans has this team playing. These guys believe that they can win any game, and they proved it again. Like you said, I thought Pittsburgh was going to handle business. Because we all drink the Pittsburgh Kool-Aid because we feel, with Tomlin never having a losing record and all this, this is the second year of Pickett and all these guys, and they're going to get it together. And nope, Houston said, all right, you guys are coming in, and they handled business. CJ Stroud is the real deal. I
Yeah.
really think so. I think he's broken the Ohio State
Ohio
curse.
State curse.
I think he is the one who has done this, and he's good. I think he's kind of playing with a slight chip on his shoulder. I think he truly believes he should have been the number one quarterback taken. And right now he's making a strong case for that.
Bryce, yeah, the way Bryce is struggling. I don't know how much to blame on Bryce because his offensive line can't block a bag of potatoes, but but
Exactly.
yeah, CJ's he's looking like the goods right now.
CJ's legit, and those guys are playing hard. Hey, you give them the credit. They handled Pittsburgh. Everyone was picking Pittsburgh to make some noise this year. Well, not right now. Right now they're licking wounds, and they've got to figure it out.
Yeah, call this Texan season hashtag Justice for Lovey.
Exactly. Lovey's going. Yeah. All right. Lovey Smith, man, much love.
Another game we'll touch on quick, and it was another blowout. The Ravens really thrashed the Browns, but a lot of this was because Deshaun Watson at the 11th hour, much like Derek Carr was in, Watson was very much out at pretty much right before game time. So do you have any kind of grain of salt with this, or is it just kind of like whatever, they thrashed him because Cleveland didn't have a starting quarterback?
When did you know that, okay, maybe my shoulder isn't right? Like all of a sudden, like you knew the shoulder was off. Like if I'm a team, we need to know. Like you've got to know by like Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, is the shoulder right? Is it not? It just seems like they didn't have a backup plan, and the backup guy just didn't do the job.
Yeah. And
so
to your point, I mean, that says a lot, and not so much in a positive way, about Deshaun Watson's leadership. You give your team 4 hours notice that you're not going to play.
Yeah, you know why? Because that contract's guaranteed. He don't care.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's be realistic. He's like, I'm not. Oh man, am I going to miss some money? No. He's like, my checks are coming regardless.
Yeah.
So it's Cleveland is whatever. Cleveland is at this point great defensive team, but offensively they're without Chubb being there. I don't like Watson. I don't think Watson is what he used to be. Chubby, poor Chubb. Hope he's getting better. But yeah, Watson is not what he used to be. This team is just going to be there. I don't know what is going to happen at the end of the season with this team. But yeah, if you knew your shoulder wasn't right, you just should have said something and just did the right thing and let the team know ahead of time. I'm sitting. Let's get some. Let's get the backup in. Let's get this right. And they just looked the fool.
Yeah. Another game to touch on quickly. The Chargers did take care of business. The final score probably looks a little closer than most people would expect, but there's a pretty good reason for that. And this is one of those games that you can throw the label of, yeah, we won, but at what cost on? Because Justin Herbert's looking like he may have busted up his hand a little bit. So what do you kind of take? And Justin Herbert still put up a pretty good game. He scored a couple touchdowns on the ground. He threw one through the air. So he went out and did his work. But like if Justin Herbert's hand's not right, this is a team that looked like they had kind of corrected some ills from earlier in the season. Now you've got a lot more ills to deal with, and probably more significant ones.
I don't know I think they lucked out in those wins. As we've always said, Staley's on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say Herbert's out for a couple games. Let's say they lose those games. Can you blame Staley? Your franchise guy isn't there. You got to put in the backup. Is it? So I think from the way Herbert looked, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think it'll be all right. I don't think it's anything too serious. They'll, make sure he's good to go. But, they won. He's still on the hot seat to me. They have not had a clean game from beginning to end where, he hasn't made some kind of weird call or just, screwed something up. I still think unless they make the playoffs and make a deep run, I think he's getting bounced personally.
So you don't think any potential lingering injury to Herbert is enough? Is a real get out of jail free card for Staley?
No, because I'm sure he'll make some calls that'll just screw something up for the next guy up. Like I don't. I think he's got a track record enough where it's just they don't know who would replace him. I guess Kellen Moore would be the guy. I've
Come
always
out
said,
of retirement. Come out of retirement.
he's coaching somewhere. I'd pull him, but like, it's the point now of do they really believe in him? Like you haven't heard anything yet, but I think behind closed doors they're like, just one more mess up, one serious one, and then there you go. Then the clock starts.
Yeah.
So a win, they win. You make sure Herbie's hand is right, and then you just go on. And hopefully they can kind of put something together. Hopefully, Eckler's back next week.
Yeah.
That's been a big thing for them. Hopefully he's back, and don't rush him. I think if you need to give him one more week, then you do that.
Well, fortunately for both Eckler and Herbie, next week's their bye.
Oh, see, so at that point, week 6, they should be raring to go.
Honestly, just let them sit for 2 weeks. Have them do nothing but, I don't want to say classroom, but, sit team meetings and that sort of thing. Don't even have them on the practice field. They don't need to practice. Just let them rest and get their bodies right.
Exactly, because I don't think they can go another week with Kelly as the starter. I thought he was better, and I guess he wasn't because he's just I guess he's a complimentary back at best. He just can't carry a full load. It's just not his thing.
Yeah. Another one to just touch on quickly because the Niners, as expected, very much took care of business in the Cardinals in the desert. And the Cardinals did put up a little bit of a fight, but I think the Niners obviously proved themselves to be far above the Cowboys. And this is just a bit of an example to pay homage to CMC absolutely going bonkers in this game.
Yeah, that was just like, all right, what else is on TV? Okay. Though I would have watched that game over the
Dallas game,
over that Dallas junk that I was forced to. I literally by like mid third quarter, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I would just like walk in and out of a room because it was just that bad. So do you think Dallas walked into Arizona and was just like, oh, we're gonna win this, no problem?
Oh yeah.
Or was it that San Fran said, okay, we don't want to be Dallas, so let's make sure we do what we do?
I think there is something to that thought that the Niners think like, okay, we don't want to happen to us what just happened last week with the Cowboys, but I think the Niners are very much, and you said it either a couple weeks ago, that the Niners have in their mind, this is we have to do this now. We have to win now. So I think there's more of an urgency. So they're less prone to having slip-ups. As opposed to Dallas, that's just how Dallas lives, is by slipping up. That being said, like I do think I would agree with Dallas last week. I think they just walked in and said, oh, it's the Cardinals. We're going to win this. Why do we need to take it seriously?
So you think San Fran is more of a business type operation?
Oh yeah.
And the Cowboys are like, woo, college frat boy, good time, we're gonna win, and then they get blown out by Appalachian State week 1.
Yeah. that and the fact that Purdy has no ego on him. You know what I mean? He's not a star quarterback. He's played very well, obviously, but he's not. Him by himself, he's not this like superstar $100 million quarterback. So there's no ego about him. Gotcha. CMC's happy. He's not miserable like he was in Carolina. And I think that I think Shanahan has something to prove in his coaching career. So I think the Niners are very much a kind of takes business serious type of team.
All right, cool. All right.
These aforementioned Cowboys you brought up. Dallas, as far as Dallas is concerned, they did what they were supposed to do today. But, the Patriots are in a down a down note, and Dallas thrashed them as they really should. So I'll ask you a very important question.
Yes.
Do you think that Bill Belichick is not all that he was hyped up to be all these years, and he was just coasting on the fact that he had Tom freaking Brady as his quarterback?
Wow.
Because we've gotten enough evidence now in the last few years with Bill Belichick on his own, and capitalized by this disaster in Dallas Sunday, that I think we can ask the question. I think we can start to ask the question now, like, how much of that Bill magic was really Bill's magic?
The ye old question that kind of rivals was it what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it Bill or was it Tom? I've always said, and I'll take this to the end, that it was Tom. I'm not going to sit here and say otherwise. Bill's a great defensive mind. There's no doubt about it. But if you look at what has happened, he makes decisions now based on his ego. This is just an ego trip. This is not good.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, Brady leaves. It's documented. That horrible loss to Tennessee, and you basically tell Tom, "Yep, you're done. Whatever, hit the road. We don't want you anymore." Kraft makes the call and sides with his coach. And I bet you right now there are days when Kraft tosses and turns and says, "I should have went with Tom," but went with his coach. And now you have seen what it's grown into. It's grown into a circus. It's not good. They spent a ton of money on tight ends. Let's not forget, when they had all that money, they brought in Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, who isn't even there anymore, and a bunch of other stuff. Now mind you, Kendrick Bourne isn't bad. Nelson Aguilar, I don't know what that was, but you brought in these pieces that really didn't fit, but it was still we can pick stuff up off the junk, out of the junkyard and turn it into greatness. Now, when you were doing that, you had the greatest of all time, and it was a different culture. This culture isn't there. The Patriot way doesn't exist anymore. It's done. It's done. Anyone who wants to say that it's still there is lying to themselves. That defense plays hard, but you're running those guys into the ground. It wouldn't surprise me by the end of the year if guys are screaming, "Get me out of here," because it's not working. Bill needs to understand that the NFL is different now. The NFL is not what it used to be, back in the heyday of New England, back when he was with the Giants and all that. The time has come to move on and join the modern NFL. And if he doesn't do that, this franchise is just going to fall deeper into despair. And those 6 banners that are up there are going to mean less and less to people, because they're going to say, "You know what? We had the greatest of all time coach, and this is what he did." Because all he wants to do is beat Shula. Let's be realistic. He needs one win to tie him, I believe, and then one to beat him. He wants to beat Shula. That's all he cares about, is that coaching record. Yeah. It's time to look at it and say, maybe it's time for a change.
I would agree with that, and I would love nothing more than just to watch that just crumble down and burn. So much heartbreak.
You've waited 20 plus years for the downfall. I understand. Mine is a little different because I was in there, so I know. It's like I broke out of the cult.
Yeah.
It's like I was in the cult for so long. I was in there from the beginning, and then they did something wrong, and I was like, "Nope, that's not right." The light went off, and I said, "I got to get out." And luckily, Tom came to Tampa, and I'm living life. Baker Bay, I'm living life. But yeah, that's what has to happen. It was horrible. Like Mac Jones, I don't know what Mac Jones was doing out there.
And it makes you really scratch your head. Why'd they bother having that whole tiff with Bailey Zappi in the offseason where they cut him, but then they bring him back? It's like, if you don't like Mac Jones, just get rid of Mac Jones. It shouldn't be that hard to replace him.
You were looking in the offseason to trade him. It's not common knowledge. So you should have just pulled the trigger. If you don't like him, then fine. So instead, you keep him there, and the guy's probably playing on pins and needles. And what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. Mac Jones is going to end up leaving there. He's going to end up going somewhere else, and he's going to end up lighting it up. And then everyone's going to look at Belichick and be like, "Yep, I guess, yep." He was the one who tore the legacy down. He's the guy who took Belichick out. It was one of his own.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's be realistic.
Speaking of taking things down and downfalls this year, that's very much been the story of the New York Jets. What can we even possibly expect from this game tonight? I mean, we talked about in the pregame, the Chiefs just have to not show up, or Patrick Mahomes has. It's like, nah, it's okay. I'll just sit there and not play tonight for the Jets to really have a chance.
Oh, I'm just watching for the Taylor Swift halftime show. I think she's going to perform. That's all I'm waiting for. Aaron Rodgers is there, so here's what you're going to get. If anyone is watching this game, you're going to get how many? It should be a drinking game. How many Taylor Swift shots, camera shots are you going to get? You drink there. How many times are you going to see Aaron Rodgers? You take a drink there. How many touchdowns Travis Kelce gets? Take a drink there. How many interceptions does the MILF Hunter Zach Wilson throw? Take a drink. That's what you do, because this game is going to be putrid. Oh my God.
Zach Wilson pick should be finish your drink.
Exactly. At that point, dude, by like the middle of the second quarter, you're done. At that point, you're praying to the porcelain Lord. You're done. This game is going to be horrible. There's just no way. If the Jets were to pull this off, this could go down as one of the biggest upsets ever. It would have to be.
Yeah.
So, it'd probably end up being 42-10 or something like that. I don't know.
Jets get a garbage touchdown at the end to not get shut out.
Mike White puts up some Jets pride and puts up a touchdown, and then Joe Namath tomorrow is screaming, "Hey, Mike White should be the guy.
Bring Mike White back. Bring him back.
Bring back Mike White. Tim Boyle is our guy. Maybe Maybe we'll see some Trevor Siemian tonight. Because they brought him in for what reason?
Yeah, you've only read the playbook for 2 days. You have to be better than Zach.
Don't you want to bring someone in who you think would have a better shot of leading this team, like Trevor Siemian? No disrespect, the man's an NFL quarterback. I'm not, hey, whatever. I'm just a schmuck down here in Groveland, Florida, But Trevor Siemian, what? You don't want to upset the apple cart and get Zach all upset? Zach stinks. Just be real. Any Jets fan is going to tell you this. So bring in someone that's going to push him to be better. Trevor Siemian's the guy. Really?
Any Jets fan's going to tell you, I think Donnie told us about 60 times in 3 minutes.
Put Boyle in and call it a day. If I'm a Jets fan, I'd rather Boyle play the whole game. At least you know what you're going to get. He may actually put up some points. You never know.
Well, let's see just how many points are going to get put up in this Sunday nighter. Probably mostly in red and gold, but you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah, need a break.
Let's check it out, and I don't know, maybe in an hour we'll be recording a rap show.
Oh, we'll talk about 45 minutes. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's just be real. If it's 20-0, I'm gonna be like, hey man, let's just do this now. It's not gonna be good.
That's right.
3 picks, returned for touchdowns. For some reason, Taylor Swift makes it on the sideline. Who knows what happens?
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Enjoy this probable disaster of a Sunday night game, and catch our wrap-up show on Monday.
Yes, folks. Any Jets fans, I will pray for you. Bucks fans, 3-1. Enjoy.